So now let's go through security of your WordPress site. Now this is a very important factor because in fact you might think that I'm only a small WordPress site, why would anybody target me? But people do, because they are the easiest to target. They don't have as much security, people don't usually have as much experience to stop it as well. So let's just go through everything you can do first. First things first is keep your plugins completely up to date. You can do this by updating them manually or simply selecting Enable Auto Updates from the list here and they will automatically update. Now the reason for this is going to be because usually plugins will update once they find any security flaws or anything like that. So then by keeping the old update you can potentially leave yourself open to something malicious like files getting uploaded, maybe backdoors to be able to get into your website somehow with bugs with the old plugins. So just make sure to keep them up to date. The developers update them for that reason. If they find out a security threat they will then update it with a new version of the plugin, so just make sure to keep up to date. A great way to check this is go to Dashboard and go to Updates. This will also get shown in the top bar here as a little update option and it will tell you straight away when something needs an update. This also works the same for themes. So as you can see here on this page we have plugins and themes. Themes you need to keep up to date. They will appear on here, also on the top bar, and it will say update 1, 2 or 3 depending how many you got, and just make sure that you update them. Same as plugins, they might have a security threat in them, it might have got patched, they will put a new update. However, if you haven't got that new update, that means that you are vulnerable to somebody using the old bug in the old plugin. So just make sure first of all that you keep everything up to date. Second of all, let's add some general security really, stuff like changing our login access. So rather than doing /wp-admin, let's change that to something else so people can't just guess. Let's limit the amount of login attempts. So if somebody tries to log in 20 times in a row, they're going to get locked out by their IP. And to do this, of course, we're going to be using some more plugins here. One thing is that you can actually connect it up to Cloudflare. Again, once you do connect up to Cloudflare, that will give you extra security as well and firewall. However, we won't be going through that in this tutorial. I have left a link previously a few chapters back and that will give you a good link with a video to install Cloudflare. It really doesn't take too long, so just follow that link and do that. So we're going to go up to plugins, we're going to go to add new, and again there are lots of plugins for this security. You've got iTheme Security, which I think might have changed name now, or formerly was known as WP Security. I'm going to be using WP Server, Security, Anti-Spam and Malware Scan also. I do find this to be quite a good one and we'll be using it in conjunction with another one too. So let's just go for install for now. And this is just to get some general security on you. As you can see there, we've got a malware scanner, user log activity and other stuff. And let's just go ahead and activate. Once you've installed that, you're going to get a WP Server option here. So let's click on that and let's see what options we have. And let's see what we can do. So first of all, let's just go to the main settings and let's set up some settings for the security here. So first of all, for your login security, how many login attempts are you going to allow within a certain amount of time? So 5 tries within 30 minutes seems pretty fair enough. You might have forgot it a few times, but then after the 5th try within 30 minutes, it's quite likely that this might be a bot or somebody maliciously trying to find out the admin password to log in as you. So we're going to leave that as 5. You can put it a bit lower, but also don't forget it might lock you out as well. But also don't forget you don't want to make it, because people will actually genuinely forget their password. You might have an editor, you might have a forum or something like that. People might genuinely forget their password, so don't do it too low either. Then you can choose how long you want to block their IP address. So if I'm on a certain internet or my Wi-Fi at home, I'm on one IP address. So then if I fail that, how long do you want to lock them out? Do you want it to be 60 minutes? Do you want it to be 120? Do you want it to be like 24 hours? Work it out in minutes, then just add to that there. That's how long it'll block the IP for. Of course, you can change to mitigate the aggressive attempts, change all of this information to suit you, how secure really you want it, and then we're going to go down to the custom login page. As you already know, we've got WP-admin, that is the default login page, so anyone can practically know that and try to log into the back of your website. So what we can do here is we can actually change that completely, and we can change it to something else that we want. So for instance, if I put rather than WP-admin, put WP-support, that's the page I'll have to log into now to actually get to my login page. Just make sure that you actually remember this, because you won't be able to go back and use the WP-admin because it will completely be changed to this. So just remember what your new login page is if you are going to do it, and it's called the URL slug. As you go further down, you can also do stuff like keep the login records of not logged in users. How many days do you want to keep them records for? Basically cache on your website, so don't keep it too long. You don't really want to have too much data that really isn't going to be useful for you. You can choose whether you want to set up the server lab location, so it will send malicious IP addresses to the server lab. That will help them with data, and you can also change the protocol to HTTPS. Another cool thing is that you can also write failed login attempts to the file, so you can actually check what people are trying to log in with. What are their failed attempts? Are they close to guessing your password? I suppose you can check that. What this plugin will also do is it will add your IP address automatically to the whitelist. However, let's say for instance you've made this on a different IP, you might be using a cafe or something like that, or a friend's house. You might not want that IP to be whitelisted, which means that it gets past any rules. Just go and tick the bottom button here which says my IP address. I do not add my IP address to the whitelist IP upon the plugin activation, because that's when it would have read your IP. So if you haven't used your home computer, just make sure to click that, so whatever IP you were using when you did start it with the plugin, it's not whitelisted that. Then go ahead and save changes, and we've really helped a lot of the login attempts. So what we've now done already, we've made this super secure in terms of people trying to actually log in as you, and how many attempts they have to actually log into your website. If you go to access list, and obviously I'll have my IP hidden here, but what we'll do is it'll give you a white IP access list or a black IP access list. So the white IP access list will have your IP. If you did do it on another network and you tick to take it off of there, you can manually add an entry here by simply putting in your IP address and then clicking add entry. If you want to add one to the blacklist, let's say for instance you know that somebody's on a malicious IP that keeps trying to log on, you can then add it to the blacklist as well. Just add the entry and it will add it there. If we go to hardening, this is obviously, as the name suggests, it's even going to harden the security even more for your WordPress, and what we're going to do is we're going to check out some of these options. We have stop user enumeration. That'll block access to user pages with like a /author. Prevent username discovery via O-embed. Prevent user discovery via user XML sitemaps. Now this is totally up to you, because obviously you might be running a forum, a blog or something like that where you would actually need the username to be discovered. However, if you don't, then you can go ahead and check that too. Protect the admin script, so block unauthorized access to load /scripts.php. I am going to enable that as well, because once we do install something else, and I'll show you as well with WordFence, which is also another really good firewall, that in fact people do try and get into your website using load scripts, PHPs and stuff like that. Do you want to block scripts, PHP scripts in the WordPress media folder? I am going to block that, because in our media folder we are primarily going to only have media. Do be careful, because if you are doing stuff like downloads and you have got zips that you're adding and other files like that, maybe that might be a problem, so don't click that then. If it is just simply media, you're going to have no problem, because you shouldn't really have any scripts within your media files anyway. Disable XML Rpc. Now this was something which was added with mobile usability, and to be fair, I will always block this, because what I did notice using myself a security plugin is that I had a huge number of people trying to make their way into the website using the XML Rpc. You can actually download another plugin as well, which is simply just doing that, or with WP Server you do get that with the service. So I'm just going to tick that. It doesn't mean that your mobile compatibility will go down, however it will stop a lot of people being able to gain access using them files. Once you've changed everything on here, let's go ahead and save, and we are now super secure compared to when we first started. You can go to notifications, make sure that you put an email address, just in case anything does happen. It will send it to your email, and it will let you know if any file changes have happened, plugin enabled or disabled or updated. So it's always good to make sure that you know what's going on. Now from your dashboard, you're also going to be able to check if there's been any malicious activity, recently locked out IPs, so something which has been flagged by the firewall here as saying no, this is a bot or something bad. And you're going to be able to check all of that out here on your dashboard. What you can also do is set up the reCAPTCHA here. If you come to the anti-spam engine, you can, if you do have a registration form, you can click it on the registration form. So when people register, they'll get an anti-spam bot detection engine. Of course, you're going to get this on the comment form as well, because you're going to get a lot of bots trying to comment on the form with their bad links. And then you can choose what happens if it is detected spam, deny it completely, or mark it as spam. We're just going to go for deny it completely. It's pretty good at checking out what is spam and what's not. I'm just going to go ahead and do protect all forms on this website with the bot detection engine, just in case in the future we end end up having a form of some other sort, and we just want to make sure that we're not getting spammed. We're not going to go through how to set up the reCAPTCHA settings. However, if you search for Google reCAPTCHA, you set yourself up with a Google account. You can very easily, once you've set yourself up, get your site key and secret key. I'll see if I can also find another link. I've got lots of videos on this sort of stuff. I'll add the video there just so you can see how you can add your site key and secret key, or how you can find it as well. So that's going to be a really good one to get started with. Other security plugins are going to be WordFence Security, Firewall and Malware Scanner, much like the WP Server which we've just installed. However, this is actually really tailored to the firewall, who's letting in. It gives you a really precise view of exactly the IP. You can run free who is to see who the actual person is. You can block their network, you can block their IP. That is super good, especially if you're actually getting a lot of malicious attacks. And it also has quite a good scan feature too. So really try them out, see what's best for you. You obviously have a lot of different ones here. You've got SiteGround Security, all in one, WP Security and Firewall, Security Malware Scan by CleanTalk. You do have a lot. This is the other well-known one as well, as you can see here, with 1 million plus active installations. We have iTheme Security, formerly known as WP Security. This is also another really good one. Unfortunately, unlike the WP server, it doesn't give you the option to change the URL slug. However, you do get the reCAPTCHA. You also get another reCAPTCHA which will actually check out your whole site. They don't have to click anything, it will constantly check people. And you can also add two-factor authentication. In fact, one great thing about WordFence here is that it does add two-factor authentication. It will also add this to your login process, so every time you log in, you have to use an app. Use the two-factor authentication just to make sure that it's you, and I really recommend this for admins. So really the thing to learn from this is make sure that you have at least one, maybe two plugins installed for security, trying to do different things. Maybe one can be a general, so maybe you would have WordFence Security for your firewall, and then iTheme Security for your general. You can even go ahead and get WP Server Security for all its other functions, and WordFence, and just make sure that you get them working together, make them working well, they're compatible with your version, and most of all, you keep everything up to date. Also as well, don't give out your admin password. If somebody really needs to get on and edit, create them a new account using the user like we done earlier. Just create them a new account, give them editor, don't give them admin permissions, and then they can just get on and do the editing.